In this episode, I removed the heart of a monster.
A lot of work has been done on this yellow car, and to be honest with you, it's been a lot. You know, I had the transmission out, I did the clutch, I pulled the steering rack, but all of that I already have videos of, and let's be honest, you've seen me take apart so many NSXs at this point. It might be just a little redundant and a lot of time on YouTube to watch. So I decided I'm just gonna skip that and get to the part where I haven't done this on YouTube yet, and that's pulling the entire drivetrain out. What we're doing is a full 90K service, timing belt, water pump, all the coolant hoses, valve adjustment. We're switching him from the hydraulic old style Lost Motion Assembly, LMA, to the new spring style, so it's a lot less noisy. He just really wants to be able to drive this car and enjoy it without any problems for many years to come.
The main reason to switch from the old hydraulic style to the new spring style is that the old hydraulic styles can gum up and stop functioning properly and make a little bit of extra noise. While it doesn't hurt the function of the motor and car, it can be annoying, and definitely having the new style prevents any further issues in the future, making it a really nice upgrade. First thing to do is all the interior work, because, well, my hands were really clean, disconnecting the ECU, tearing apart the interior. And then everything else is kind of the same as removing the transmission. I use this dolly I bought from Cedar Ridge Fabrication. Description is going to be in the body below. And removed all of the engine mounts and everything supporting the cradle to the body of the car. Now, some people say that you can remove the LMAs and get everything changed out with the engine in the car. I'm not saying that it is impossible. For me, I believe that because of the delicacy of the operation and the fact that none of these engine bays are squeaky clean, and if any of that dirt should get into the cylinder head, it's going to be a really bad day. So it's just easier and more cheap insurance to pull the engine and to change these. Make sure that you pin all of the camshafts to make sure that you're at top dead center and the cams don't move on you. Removing the water pump is a straightforward affair. Now, when I remove everything, I do it in the exact opposite of the torquing sequence. You don't really need to do this, but it is a nice thing to do to make sure that no warping happens as you're disassembling and reassembling everything. Just do it by torque sequence. Changing these O-rings is not a part of the 90K according to the manual, but since we're there and they are very inexpensive, and should those O-rings ever fail, you will have a very big problem with your engine. So we always change them here at Applied Motorsports, and I suggest that all customers have that done while you're doing a 90K service or LMA service, because you're there. As you can see, you have to remove quite a bit of everything in order to get to the LMAs and the rocker shafts. Torquing down the water pump. So, one critical piece of information that has to happen is that the rocker shafts and the rocker arms need to go exactly right back where they were on the shaft. They wear into place, and according to Honda, it is absolutely critical that they go back where they are. So that is something I always make sure that I do when I'm performing this job, is that these go exactly where they are supposed to go, back onto the rocker shaft. No mistakes, no issues, because there could be a wear issue, could be a oil clearance issue. I always, when I install new LMAs, I end up using a little bit of a red line assembly lube just to make sure that they wear in correctly. The rocker shaft has a oil orifice hole that you're going to need to make sure is pointed up towards the cylinder head hole. If you don't get it perfect, you can align it later with a pick, so don't worry too much about it. It doesn't have to be perfect right off the bat. Getting the rocker shaft and the rocker arms can be a little tricky, but don't worry. So orifices went in with new O-rings and everything went in well. Next step is probably one of the most important in my opinion. It is cleaning everything before it goes back on. I use an old feeler gauge to get off a lot of the easier stuff and stuff that isn't too worrying about scratches. When I start to get stuff that's very stubborn, I'll use a plastic scraper and really go at it. The cam caps can get really gummed up with old oil and gunk. I use a Q-tip and brake clean, and I make sure that these are absolutely spotless before they go back in. These rocker shaft plugs get new gaskets every time. Again, there's no reason to believe that the old ones couldn't be reused. However, it is a very inexpensive part, and should they ever leak, you will be in deep trouble, and it's a lot of labor to get those parts. So I always replace them. I oil up the rocker shafts with motor oil just to make sure we don't start dry on anything. Now, if the engine's not going to be run for a while, like if this is a fresh build, I'll use assembly lube instead. And another critical component is just cleaning. People do not understand how much time we take at Applied Motorsports to clean everything before it goes in. Honda expects that these parts are cleaned and oiled before they go back into the cylinder head. And that does take a lot of time. It takes an incredible amount of time, and I'm only showing you just a bare minimum of what goes into, how much cleaning goes into this. New cam plug seals go in the back side of the cam, and obviously new cam seals in the front towards the cam gear. Installing these can be a little tricky because of the notches. You don't want it to nick them, because if you nick them, then they will leak oil. Installing the cam caps is pretty straightforward once you have an alignment good. Once you have the cams aligned well, and the end pieces get just a dab of Honda Bond on the mating surfaces. As you can see, I've already written down the torque sequences here, and I oil up the contact surfaces on the cam caps. I also oil up the threads and contact surface on each of the bolts as per the Honda service manual. Now you're going to see me use an electric impact to run these bolts down. I absolutely put zero torque on these. This is just to take up the time in the threads before I put any tension on them. So yeah, as you can see now, I'm actually using a hand ratchet to quickly go through the torque sequence and get them to the point where they stop threading. And then do a two-step torque sequence. And then double check everything, because this aluminum in the C30 is very flexible. Once everything has been double checked, I then mark it, make sure it's good, so then I know going forward we're good. The rear bank is much of the same as the front. As you can see, I'm burning through here and keeping everything very well organized. I think that is super important. I want to take this moment to say thank you for everyone for watching. I hope you guys are enjoying the channel. You know, if you are enjoying the channel, please like and subscribe. I really do appreciate it. It means a lot to me. Comment if you have any questions or issues. If there's something on this episode that you see that you don't quite understand, I'd be more than happy to explain it. And as we're going back in, you can see it can be just a little tricky to align everything and get it all together, but it does go back together just fine. Again, just taking my time doing everything by the book, carefully, slowly, making sure everything gets on correctly. I've already written down the torque sequence again on the rear bank and doing the exact same oiling procedure that I did on the front bank, both with the cam caps and cam bridge and the bolts. Going through the torque sequence just like I did. Two-step, please follow the factory service manual for that. Everything's been marked, and now I pin the cams because it's time to put the timing belt on. Timing belt can be a little bit tricky, especially if you've never done one before. It definitely takes a little bit of finesse and a little bit of wiggle. The exhaust cam is going to give you the biggest headache, and you are going to need to depin it in order to move it a bit. I now, once the timing belt's on, I torque all the cams gears and then check to make sure that I have the timing correct. After that, it's time for a valve adjustment. These can differ a little bit between NA1 and NA2 as far as what the cars prefer. NA2s prefer to be in the more middle of the range, whereas NA1s can be a little bit more flexible. They have a little bit more range. Again, we're back to cleaning. The valve covers can get very, very dirty. They are magnesium, so do be careful in cleaning them. I take a lot of time in order to clean off, especially if there's old Honda bond and everything. Make sure that these go on as clean and as new as possible. That way there's the least likelihood of a leak when these go back on. Installing new grommets, new seal kits every time, just because, again, it's here and it's easy. It doesn't cost that much more. Honda torque sequence for this starts from the timing belt side and works its way out. Same with the front bank, exact same procedure. Make sure everything is squeaky clean and dry, ready to go, and then get everything together. Torque it, and with the rubber I will torque it and make sure that it's to spec, maybe twice. If I feel iffy, it might be 3 times. Torquing the crank. This is a great time to clean the engine bay. This customer's engine bay was filthy, so I took quite a number of hours to make sure everything was really squeaky clean, and I'm only showing you the one side and just how much that improvement can be over time with a little bit of effort and simple green. That's all I used here. Simple green, a brush, and a cloth, and some elbow grease. Time to hang the harness. At this point, I would normally have the intake manifold on as well. However, at the time when this video was being shot, we were short a couple of intake manifold gaskets, so I ended up having to do this after the engine was going in. I had the engine lined up underneath the chassis, carefully dropping the chassis back onto the cradle, starting all of the main M12 bolts that go into the unibody and getting those ready to go into the chassis. There's 8 of them. You can use an alignment tool and all with that one-eyed piece and make sure that you get those in there together, starting the passenger and driver's side or left and right engine mounts to make sure that you have as many good connection points as possible. Be careful. Once you have those ready, it's time to remove the engine brace and begin final assembly of everything else in the car. This is the same as anything else you would do. Take your time, put the axles back, do everything, torque it all to spec, make sure you follow all of the factory recommended procedures. There's a lot of parts involved. I change all the hoses every 90K. This can be difficult. It's especially difficult if you happen to have a camera in your way. But here on these 2 main hoses, the position of the clamps can be a little bit tricky because they do interfere with other hoses and some of the other parts that are in the engine bay. So just take your time, be careful, and be prepared to move them if you need to. I find that the special hose clamp pliers are very handy for those really big clamps. The milk jug or expansion tank, whatever you want to call it, is incredibly prone to getting dirty fingerprints on it. So make sure if you are handling a brand new one, especially, that your hands are very clean. Time to fill the car with fluids. I start with the transmission because it takes the longest. Engine gets brand new oil, brand new Honda coolant. I find that that's the best coolant to use, and then follow the factory bleed procedure.
Alright guys, well, it's time. I got the steering rack in, I got the engine, transmission, new clutch, everything's in, everything's connected, everything's been bled, oil's filled, transmission's filled, everything's ready to go. So the only thing left to do is to start it. And the first start of any new, and this isn't a new build, but any start of a new engine is always stressful. So I'm gonna have you be a part of that.
Let the car cool down, then it's time to check the coolant system one more time to make sure you have gotten all the air out of the system. After everything is said and done, it's okay to put the interior back in because, well, it's time to wrap it all up. As one final goodwill check, I like to run the car and be underneath it to do a final leak check, spot check, make sure I didn't miss anything, do a full check. If you like this video, thank you so much. Please still like and subscribe. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.